Welcome to The Grant, the EU funding podcast. The Grant. My name is Niels Winter, and I'm the creator, editor, and host of The Grant. The Grant is an independent podcast initiative with the ambition to dig into all corners of the EU R&D funding system on topics of interest for the full EU R&D funding community. The Interreg program is one of the most successful funding schemes of all from the EU Commission. It was launched back in 1990 on the eve of the single market, and the key to the program is fostering and facilitating cross-border collaboration in all corners of Europe. This podcast episode is an introduction to the program, and for that I have invited in Viktoria Nilsson, who is project leader in Lund Municipality in Sweden. She has a lot of experience with the program and has herself even worked in one of the secretariats that supports the beneficiaries. We run through the background and purpose of the program, what it is funding, typical projects, and of course funding rates, eligibility, and so on, and wrapping up with the evaluation regime. Please enjoy. Grant. Welcome to The Grant, the EU funding podcast. Today I am going to introduce a new funding scheme to you guys out there. And as followers and regulars will know, I do try, and it is part of the mission of this podcast initiative, to introduce the funding schemes of the most important funding schemes out there in the EU funding corner. And I take them step by step. I have covered LIFE, I have covered Horizon, I have covered Erasmus+, I've covered, so on and so forth. I have a good handful now that I've covered, and I sort of follow the same approach every time. There's an introduction episode, and then there's an episode on how to write a proposal for the funding scheme, and then there's an evaluation episode. Now, today we're going to look at the Interreg, and I've been wanting to do that for a while because it's a very popular funding scheme throughout Europe, and many of you out there, you're involved in this, but it's also a complex program to cover because it has many different colors. But I'm gonna try now and take a first go at it. And I have a guest, of course, because I know very little about the Interreg myself. So Viktoria, welcome.
Thank you, Niels. Thank you for having me here. It's really great to be here. And I would say that it's actually my second podcast, and I think it's really exciting to try something new, the grant this time, and we'll see how it goes.
It will be fine. It will be just fine. Viktoria, a few words about yourself.
Yes, as said, my name is Viktoria Nilsson. I would say my academic background is in international economics, linguistics, and I would say that throughout my career, I have been working really with international collaboration, whatever it was about building partnerships, working across borders, bringing together people from different sectors, countries. That's where I feel most at home. I really enjoy working in international teams because they give this unique energy and diversity of perspectives. And that's the reason why I'm mentioning this, because Interreg is very much about cross-border collaboration. And I can say also myself, still about my background, worked in 4 different countries across a wide range of organizations, from a think tank, non-profit organization, to private sector, academia, now in public sector, and currently employed by the city of Lund. And currently I am managing some project leader of the Interreg Öresund Kattegatt Skagerrak funded project called Cross Border Talent Bridge, which is led by the city of Lund together with its Swedish and Danish partners. And over years, I've been really involved in a number of externally funded projects, many of them supported by Interreg program through European Regional Development Fund. And those experiences given me first-hand understanding of both opportunities and the challenges of cross-border collaboration. So that's what I'm looking forward to talking about today.
Yeah, and you know what? We owe the listeners to share a common background, right? Because it's back in the days when we were much younger than we are now, in a different life. We worked for the same NGO,
Yeah, we
had a
did.
headquarter in Copenhagen, but we didn't
Yes.
work there at the same time. But
No.
it was called Baltic Development Forum. It was started by one of the former Danish Minister of Foreign Affairs, Uffe Ellemann-Jensen, which Nordics of our age, 40s, 50s, would probably remember. And we were doing summits, political summits,
Oh, yeah.
and economic summits, gathering the everybody. It was crazy, the level of a political level of presidents, prime ministers, ministers of foreign affairs, stuff like. Phew, it was, and we did it in a very small team, right?
Yeah, indeed. It's fantastic how this little team managed to keep together all these things and organize amazing events where you say that's platforms where so many stakeholders from different sectors, countries, cities, academia, business had the possibility to come together, talk together, and develop something together also during
Yeah.
these
So we
meetings.
took sort of a common trajectory there, working internationally. Yeah, it might have put a seed for where we both ended. Now you have been continuously working at, as you have just also outlined yourself, internationally. Yeah, you worked with
Yeah.
projects, you worked with internationalization in different ways, and. Uh, the Interreg system. That's what we're going to talk about today, and it has sort of it's one of the go-to funding schemes that all regions or municipalities they 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 always end up doing something with that if you want to do something with EU funding. So that's what we're going to. It's a big funding scheme, and it's complex. It's what I wanted was to do sort of a introduction to the whole funding scheme, but I realized it's too complex, and the ones that I've been trying to get in as guests, they have declined because they thought it was too complex or too out of their. They were out of the water, so to say, like a fish out of water with two covering two broadly. So what we're going to try to do today, Victoria, we're going to take the corner where you've been working, yeah, the part of Interreg you've been working, and sort of giving a short introduction to the Interreg program. You will share that with us in a minute, and then we will dig into the specificities of your corner, and then it will hopefully be the first in a long chain of Interreg podcast episodes in this podcast,
Would be
digging
lovely.
into the different corners. Let's just go into the next section here with the EU motivation for the funding scheme and an introduction. Maybe can you share with us?
Absolutely. I think I absolutely agree with you. This is quite a complex program or funding instrument we're talking about. And Interreg, it's, I would say, one of the European Union's oldest territorial cooperation programs. It was created because of actually national borders often prevent regions from solving shared challenges efficiently. And we have a lot of common societal challenges that actually don't stop at national borders. And that's the whole idea of Interreg, which is covering 86 programs across Europe. So it's complex. It's quite a community sitting across Europe. But those social challenges, I just give examples so you understand why we speak about this cross-border collaboration. Like, let's take climate change or transport systems when two cities are connected, or marine environments when a lake unites different regions, commune, cities, or energy transition. You cannot only speak on a local level, on a regional level. This is very much transnational. And I would say that you recognize that neighboring regions often face identical challenges, but traditionally develop quite different solutions. And the idea with Interreg is to fund joint solutions, encouraging organizations from different countries to learn from each other and implement common approaches. This kind of transnational, cross-border, common approaches, learning from each other, inspiring each other. It's a kind of core of Interreg. And I would say underlying philosophy is better cooperation leads to stronger regions, which ultimately will lead to stronger Europe. So that's a kind of more common. I would say that Interreg belongs to European territorial cooperation objective under the European Regional Development Fund. And as a pillar of this EU cohesion policy, Interreg as a funding instrument enables local, regional, and national actors from different countries to work together and develop those solutions to the shared challenges. I would say that's the skeleton, the philosophy of Interreg. And of course, Interreg contributes to somehow territorial cohesion. That's it's more cohesive, yeah, and more equal Europe, reducing this kind of regional disparities. Poor, rich regions that work together, share, strengthening, of course, competitiveness. You cannot work in your individual silo. You have to work together to boost competitiveness and building trust between neighboring countries. I would say that this should not be underestimated, especially nowadays. And by doing something together, by developing solution, you automatically build this trust, which is increasingly important nowadays.
It's sort of quintessential for the European Union and European Commission, right? So this breaking down the borders.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
this is and because of the vastness of this program, it covers all Europe, and you have programs at the Iberian, you're like in the Balkans, in Donau,
Exactly.
in Holland, Belgium, Germany,
Yeah.
Northwest. And so there's larger northwestern Europe, and then it zooms into smaller areas and so on. But of course, the whole idea is, of course, to support anything, any initiative or any socio-economic and cultural exchange in between local authorities at any given level to work together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly, that's about this to rather, I would say, fund this cross-border collaboration, togetherness, rather than, for instance, maybe funding research or infrastructure alone. So this togetherness, transnational thinking, cohesive thinking, because it's a part of this EU cohesion policy, how we
Yeah.
can come closer to each other and boost Europe together. So that's the idea of this funding instrument.
Yeah. And the thing is, what they do, and you know more about this than I do, but the program, of course, you have thematics in there. Of course, you need to collaborate about something.
Yeah.
So, and I know that the Commission has tried to strengthen this recent years, because the rumor around the Interreg some years ago was that it was cocktail and networking dinners projects. It was all about policy recommendation and exchanges and so on. A lot of it, and which turned into not a lot of concrete output, but a lot of travel clubbing, and that's, of course, like, it's important for the Commission that a funding scheme like this doesn't water out. Yeah. And that's why it is important that why they have strengthened the content in their Interreg programs to make sure that the content hook is something that keeps being the spiral, the spine of the project.
Absolutely. It's very important because, as I said, it's like 86 programs in this Interreg community, but
It's crazy.
each program has its own priority areas. So,
Yeah.
and it's extremely important when the ones who are considering to submit application for funding that they should, from the beginning, try to get acquainted and understand what this program is all about, what kind of thematic topics, tracks this program identify, and why it's important. And very much, yeah, as you say, not only clubbing and nice exchanges at dinners, but it's very much about impactful outputs. So that's nothing which is a kind of fantasy and not implementable, but it should also make a change for citizens, for the end users
Yeah.
of this project. That's absolutely crucial. And one of the selection criteria, one of eligibility criteria, so that's these projects that will go for selection, that they are realistic, I would say, and also aligned with priority areas which are identified in program. As you said, today I will be focusing more on Öresund Kattegat Skagerrak program, but if you are thinking to apply for Interreg Central Baltic or Central Europe or Interreg Baltic Sea region, then of course all this program have very well developed websites where it's in detailed way specified what this program is funding, calls, everything what you can wish. And I would say it's also good to know probably that the ones who are working in secretariats, they are good advisors. So if you have an idea, you've been going around and it's a kind of been growing in your head, try to define, write some kind of concept paper and send it to the ones who are working in those secretariats, to advisors, so then can really give you very good tips and hints how you should think and align with their priority area.
Yeah, that's a whole net of secretariats.
Yeah, there are many.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, as I said, to the whole community. So it's a project secretariats, it's monitoring commission, it's managing authorities. That's a big family, Interreg family, which are working together. And I'm not speaking about end users.
No. Now, before we move into structure of the funding scheme, do you want to place the ÖKS
Yeah, I will try.
program in this landscape?
Yes, I decided to talk about Interreg X because, as I said, that's I'm currently managing a project that got funding from Interreg X program. It's Öresund Kattegat Skagerrak funds, and this is the project is called Cross Border Talent Bridge, which aims to strengthen skill supply in life science and tech in the Greater Copenhagen region. But this program covers one of Europe's most integrated border regions, I would say. And that's about collaboration between three countries: Sweden, Denmark, Norway. So, three Nordic countries. And the idea is to make this region more innovative, more sustainable, more connected, more resilient. And as all Interreg programs, it has a kind of funding program from 2021 to 2027, and they have their own priority areas, which are divided into 4 tracks. And if tell me if I should develop this as well, give examples of what kind of priority areas these Interreg.
Thanks. Let's move into the next section, because here you have all the time you need to fold out the structure of the funding scheme, right? So can you start to sort of set the key action and typical project activities? Can you start to sort of What kind of funding scheme are we talking about?
Yeah, I would say that's still a little bit continue from the previous also. That's, as I said, that's priority area is absolutely crucial, because otherwise you will never secure your funding if your idea that you developed together with partners don't or idea is not aligned with the priority areas. And for Interreg X program, Öresund Kattegatt Skagerrak, we're talking about uh, four priorities. It's about innovation, entrepreneurship, and just few examples of what it could be, strengthening university business collaboration, SMEs innovations, smart specializations. There could be examples of, for instance, developing innovation test beds, living labs. That's very much, I would say, in also Interreg. That's when you get funds, you have possibility to test, to try, to develop, to demonstrate. So that's about the kind of testing. Yeah, then that was about innovation entrepreneurship, and usually this priority area is very much is very popular among the ones who are searching for funds, because it's really very broad how you can actually define innovation. Then
Mm-hmm.
another priority which transcends national borders, that's green transition, of course, and I would say that both innovation, entrepreneurship, green transition are very much present in many Interreg programs. That's about climate change adaptation, circular economy. You can recognize, right, all these topics.
Mm-hmm.
Energy, resource efficiency, more boost for renewable energy. And could be trying, testing, developing new circular business models. It's a kind of typical outputs in this collaboration, testing some kind of joint climate solutions or decision support tools linked to governance tools. Then we have now I mentioned two priorities. The third one is about sustainable transport mobility. It's also quite obvious that it's very much present in this Interreg community about
Mm-hmm.
linking transport authorities, logistic companies. And of course, the last authority, the last priority where I am specifically working in with this cross-border talent bridge project, it's borderless labor market,
Mm-hmm.
where we address labor mobility, skills shortages, matchmaking, lifelong learning. And for instance, in our project, we are talking very much about talent attraction, retention, policy work, and how, in our specific case, how Denmark and Sweden can come closer to each other and work together in order to make sure that international talents come into the Greater Copenhagen region can, have good reasons to come, to stay and thrive and contribute to the competitiveness and growth in this fantastic region.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a kind of more general coverage
Question:
of priorities.
who decides what are the priorities in each Interreg sub-program? Do you know where that comes from? Is there a board? Is there sort of a board for the Interreg
I would not.
KS?
I no, actually I don't know. This priority definitely been discussed, and usually when the program, I would say program runs during, let's say, 7 years, certain priorities, but then they are also getting evaluated, as well as projects getting evaluated. And I guess it's a kind of discussion between also monitoring authority and other who are developing what's next funding program should be about,
Mhm.
tracking a little bit outputs from the projects. So I guess it's different factors that contribute to the how choice is made. But yeah.
Okay. I was just curious. So now you sort of outline. So you have sort of thematic areas, core thematic areas of importance for the specific region, and in other regions it could look different. But I guess many of these things they are the same sort of overall headlines throughout the different Interreg programs. Now, typical project activities, because that's so how what can you actually do? Because you're not developing technologies in these projects,
No.
right? No. So it's more framework conditions, right?
Yes,
That
it's
you sort of help collaboration on changing conditions. So can you share a little bit about
yeah, you
what you get for, like what's written into project work packages?
I would say classic also Interreg X project is one that exemplifies the program's again core philosophy. Organizations from different countries work together to solve shared cross-border challenges that otherwise would be difficult to solve it on their own, so that it's more effective, more optimized way of working. I would say typical project would be about, if we speak about partnership, because it's crucial that you have partners in this collaboration. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot
Of
do it on your own.
course.
And this partnership would standard look between, I would say, 5 to 10 maybe partners from at least two participating countries. In our case, I've mentioned Sweden, Denmark, Norway. So you need to have at least two participating countries. And I would say that I don't know if there is any golden rule, but the more you are, the more complex it gets, right? You can
Mm-hmm.
always have, I don't know, 20 partners, but administration will also increase. So it would be my recommendation maybe to stay between, I would say, yeah, 7, 10, maximum 12 partners so that it's doable, especially for the ones who will lead this project. You always have a also lead partner. In our case, that's the
Naturally.
city
Yeah.
of Lund. And then also in Interreg ERX program, you have also a coordinating partner, which is a representative from the neighboring country, I mean, who will support you also in dialogue. I mean, all what you do, you can better align, I guess, on. In our case, Sweden is lead partner and Denmark is coordinating partner, and different
Mm-hmm.
organizations who are taking these roles. Lead partner can be university, regional authority, can be city, municipality, public authority. So it's actually, and what's important to mention, I guess, that's we're talking about public and private co-funding. So the program covers up to 60% from the European Regional Funds, and the rest you should bring to this project yourself, because we have Norwegian partner. I mean, not specific in our project, but Norwegian partners are allowed. They are eligible in this collaboration. They can get up to 50% because Norway is not a part of EU. So they have their own, I would say, bilateral agreements how they contribute to co-funding.
Let's just pause it there for a second, because we'll get back to the more let's say mundane elements of the funding rate and number of partners and so on in a little bit. But what I wanted to make sure that everybody understands is that it is also countries that are not necessarily EU member states that can
Mm?
join the Interreg projects, but they have to be member of it. How is it? Do they have to be associated? How is that?
No, no. I mean, in this specific case, for instance, in Interreg, Norway is almost equally playing role,
Mhm, mhm,
and but they have a different type of agreements. So they also contribute with their funds. But if you have Norwegian partners, then this fund. Uh, Funding, as I said, up to 50%, while, for instance, partners from Sweden or Denmark can receive up to 60%. So that
mhm.
there is a difference, and it depends on their own bilateral agreements on their government levels, how much countries are ready to contribute to this collaboration. Speaking about, yeah, partnership, I already said that's absolutely crucial, that you don't do it on your own. You do it with partners and with neighboring countries, but also it's usually recommended that you have associated partners in this partnership consortium. And who are those organizations? They don't have any kind of official role or budget, but they are very important network that support your initiatives, who can help you to spread the messages, spread the outputs that you are going to develop. They can help you to anchor your good ideas in the different networks. So their role is still should not be underestimated, these associated partners. But as I said, they don't have any specific budget or official role. Mm. Mm.
Nah, I remember when I was working for Triangle Region Denmark, we were invited in as an associated partner in an Interreg. They covered travel budget for an annual partner meeting. It's difficult with associated partners. I would say it's also difficult to engage them because they if you've been a project coordinator yourself, you will know, especially if the consortium has a certain size, that you will always have sleeping partners or ghosting partners. Would that even have even as a budget, right?
Yeah.
So getting the ones that do not get anything involved and work actively, you need to be a little clever. You need to have good social skills, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
For these partners to want to contribute. Without a budget, it's that's just the nature of these things now.
Yeah, that's I guess quite natural, but otherwise, yeah, I worked with different types of project partners, and sometimes associated were much even more engaged than official ones,
No,
because I
okay.
had now I'm not talking about specifically about this concrete project, but in the previous time, which means yeah, you never know what kind of engagement you get. Sometimes, yeah, you can have sleeping partners, but hopefully, I would say that's also quite important when you develop your idea. That's already in the development phase. You don't have sleeping partners. That's the ones you get on board. They are with you from the beginning and actually design together your concept idea, and you discuss it jointly together, so that they are not surprised and you are not surprised who are coordinating the project that we thought that it would be different. No, you do it from the beginning together, and there should be plan where you want to arrive as a final destination also together.
Did you write proposals for the scheme?
Not for this specific Interreg X program, but for the Baltic Sea region program Interreg. And I would say that's, as I said, even if quite many organizations get on board, maybe a consultant, independent consultant who will help to pull all these good thoughts together, but still it should not be only up to that consultant to do the job, because finally you will sit with this project and go through different work packages, operational parts. You will implement, you will have to anchor, spread those outputs, and it means that it's important that you are from the beginning, and important to have a continuous dialogue also with advisors from Interreg secretariat, who will also happily and gladly, I would say, guide you, so that you produce very good application, and help you also to make sure that it's realistic and aligned.
Now there's gonna be a proposal episode. Sounds like your guest on that panel. No, we'll take that later. Victoria, I think that's pretty much it. So the last bullet I have here: call around frequency. How
Yeah,
often do you have the deadlines?
I would say in the Interreg X program, there are two different types of projects. One is more like a main project, which usually lasts like 3 years, and there you have the calls could be 1 to 2 times a year, and it's important also to how to say read properly. Uh, that some priority areas are not announced in the call. Let's say if we have 4 priorities, but maybe in the coming call there will be only 2, depending how funds are spent
Ah,
and who searched money before. So it's all the time. There is no ready answer to this question. You need every time you, yeah, you apply for funding, you should track a little bit what this specific call is about.
mhm.
And as I said, that's a main project and a kind of pre-project. And if we're talking about the main project, usually it's up to 3 years. And the pre-project, it's up to 1 year. And this pre-project is mostly kind of boosting, like seed money
Yeah.
project where you get funds and in order to start up, maybe find partners who maybe design this project idea together, and you need some kind of financial support for doing this. And usually, because it's only 1 year project, then the whole reporting part is a little bit more simplified.
Hold that thought, because we'll talk about these kind of things in a second. First break we're going to have here from this, just brief the target group stakeholders. Obviously, it's local authorities, regional and local authorities, but stakeholders, others, core target stakeholders.
Absolutely, you're right. Mentioning, let's say, public authorities, absolutely, municipalities, regional governments, public agencies. We can mention universities, right? Academic partners, research institutes, or innovation centers. For instance, in our concrete project, we have innovation partners, innovation pucks, and innovation clusters who
Yeah.
are working together. It could be business sector, could be SMEs, Chamber of Commerce, for instance. It could be civil society, NGOs, foundations, associations. So we are talking both private and public, yeah, stakeholders and partners.
Yeah. Do you have knowledge? Do you have universities, research organizations?
Yeah, not in our concrete project, but they are, of course, also very much welcome, because if you are to produce maybe some kind of analysis or maybe develop a methodology, then I would say research partners could be very much welcome to this consortium. In our concrete case in the project, we don't have academic partners on board. We only have them as associated partners, different universities in Denmark and Sweden. But yeah, we are mostly working with innovation clusters, innovation parks.
Yeah, well, they're also the ones that would have an what this kind of funding scheme frame is guided towards, right? It's because it's changing framework conditions. These the concrete research and research, like developing a sensor, or it's interesting for universities. For instance, in talent attraction is of course to for instance, have candidates that you manage to stay in Sweden or in Denmark from abroad, stuff like this, where the university's office that sits with working with the expat international to get them to stick. So that's the kind of organizational offices that joined.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, as I said, Interreg is not about funding research. It's not about that thing, or maybe it's more like Horizon project. Or but here it's as I said, about more public authorities, but academic partners can be on board through making analysis, or in our specific case, who are working with borderless labor market, exactly how you said that universities are both employers,
Mhm.
they are getting international expat staff and interested in, even if they've got international person on board for some assignments, but usually those internationals come with families, and how what makes families to retain and stay,
Yeah.
because it will impact, of course, on the decision to keep this international staff at universities.
All right. That should be very clear. And let's move into the next section, and that's one of the key sections of this episode here. It's a guidance episode. If you haven't discovered that out there, so what we're doing here is to put to you, Viktoria is sharing with us, what is this funding scheme in all transparency. What does it fund? Why does it do it? So you have a good introduction to what you can, how you can, utilize the funding scheme. And the next section is on how to apply. So we're going to talk about proposal types, numbers of partners, funding rate, all these things that everybody has to think about when they approach a funding scheme. And you already, because it's difficult to take the things out of the conversation. So you already sort of started sharing a little bit about these things, proposal types and so on. But can you, so you mentioned you have the pre-project seed money and you have the main project. Are there other project types?
I would say that yeah, there are there are also, but these are the main, I would say, main project or förprojekt. It's called like pre-project, maybe, I don't
Mhm.
know to call it, to
Yeah.
name it in English. These are absolutely to the main, and then depends how much money you are searching for. Then it could be maybe different kind of conditions, but these two are the main. And as I said, the huvudproject or main project usually lasts about 3 years. When you speak about number of partners for this type of project, usually you don't have any boundaries, but as I already mentioned, that it makes sense to keep it about 10, max 12 maybe, so that it's doable when you come to administration, because you you will be dealing with administration and
Mhm.
reporting. Then regarding funding, great, it's, as I said, up to 60% will come from EU funds,
Mhm.
and for Norwegian partners up to 50%. Budget usually is about, I would say, from 1 million to 5 million euro. But actually, there is no any kind of max amount
Okay, so there's no
specified.
ceiling. No?
No, it's no ceiling. Of course, every time when you submit your application, you need also submit your budget, right? To plan
Mhm.
a little bit all those activities that you're trying to implement. So roughly, budget is budget, right?
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
roughly estimate how much it might cost to yeah, to have those meetings, how much it might cost to get that or that consultant on board, traveling, all these kind of things. So you have this preliminary estimation of possible costs, and you have to submit it. And even if you submit original version, be prepared that this will be commented from Interreg secretariat, and they might come with their proposals and request for clarifications, where you have to specify, explain, maybe specify a little bit that it's not only lump sum, but you say exactly how how you've been calculating those numbers. Yes, and yeah. And this pre-project, so to say, as I said, it's up to 1 year. Usually it's like one partner per country is recommended of different reasons. So you can get like 100,000 euro in your budget. And it's a little bit more simplified process in terms of administration when it's time for reporting.
How is it with the pre-projects? Is it just one? Is the coordinator, so to say, that apply for that to, or is it the full consortium that apply? How would they normally look like, these pre-projects, in terms of consortium?
I would say that myself, I have not done this. I've not searched money for pre-project, but
Mhm.
when I'm listening to a question, I would say that it's at least definitely it should be consortium. Maybe you don't need to have all partners on board. If you originally thought, okay, we will work 10 partner organizations together, maybe you can submit in a smaller constellation in order to easier to develop it and
Mhm.
then to get on board when it's time for a main project. But it's, as I said, even this pre-project can be received in order to build up your consortium. So that,
Uh,
because it's very important that in partnership you have a mix of different complementary competencies. So you cannot only have cities. It would not make sense. Or you should think a little bit, okay, if you need to maybe reach out to companies, maybe you should think make sense to involve chamber of commerce or
mhm.
clusters who have their member companies. So every time you get on board a partner, what is a specific function and role, and how their competencies complement yours. So this kind of should be definitely in your mind.
Yeah, so from that point of view, it looks like many other collaboration projects
Yeah,
throughout the funding schemes of
yeah,
Europe, right? You have a partner value chain, sort of,
yeah.
that structures. You have a task you need to do, and then you need to fill in the blanks of who can perform those tasks, vis-a-vis the idea that you have. What are the size of those proposals? So how many? What page size are we talking about here for a main project? How big is the document that you submit?
Um, yeah, it's relatively big, I guess. How many pages? Difficult to say, but the most important that you describe a little bit different. I'd say the main logic. You think about what's your target, your objective. You think a little bit what is the final result, what kind of short term, long term effects this
Mhm.
collaboration will bring to. You should always also justify and explain how this cross-border perspective is secured.
Mhm.
Why are you doing this together? Why each organization is important to have this in this consortium? Probably you bring certain learnings from the previous collaboration in order to justify that their presence is absolutely crucial here. Then you go to different work packages where you operationally describe who is responsible for this, what is a time plan, what is the activity plan, who will be doing this, when it starts, when it ends, what the whole idea. And then, of course, budget and also different indicators of success, so to say, how you will measure this success.
Mhm.
And there is activity indicators and result indicators, and on the result indicators
As
you will
indicators, yeah.
yeah, you
Uh,
will report at the end of your project, but on activity indicators you will be reporting twice a year, because reporting comes twice a year. Each 6 months,
mm.
you will have this reporting procedure, both narrative, textual, where you explain how things are going on, how you're achieving, what kind of deviations you have had during the implementation phase. Yeah, but then you have also financial reporting.
So you have to fill in these tables in the so you have tables for that in the proposal phase.
Yeah, certain tables. So yeah, you definitely have
Yeah,
to fill in and also explain why you're doing this. Yeah.
yeah.
And also, as I said, be realistic with everything what you do. You can maybe of course you always should be ambitious and try to yeah catch the skies, but also still be realistic so that you can really implement it and deliver those deliverables that you put on paper. expected results.
Now you sort of gave us an idea of the proposal structure. Are we talking 50 pages or 100 pages or
No less. Less. I
30?
would say. Yeah, let's say so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good for people to understand, the sort of the amount. Are there anything that is not funded? So what's funded and not? What's eligible costs?
I would say that's eligible costs. It's staff, of course, staff costs,
Mhm.
and usually that's a personnel staff. That's a biggest amount when you try to cover salaries through the project. So who will implement those activities?
Yeah.
Then you have, for instance, so it's personnel costs, but then you have external costs, and in external costs there could be meetings, communication package, promo, branding, could be external
Podcasting.
expertise, podcasts, just to name. Absolutely. When you're developing your communication package, think about what kind of promo material you will do. Probably you will make a web page, or if you don't want to invest money in web page, maybe you will make a LinkedIn corporate page, and there you will kind of boost your project.
Mhm.
Where will you meet your target groups? Because it's extremely important who is your target group, and you will also have to specify this when you search for money,
Mhm.
apply for money. Then I would say, as regard to travel and overhead, you can also choose that you can have it as a Schablon Method, it's called, when it's fixed settled percentage of your staff costs. So it means that if you choose this way of funding, then you will not need to report on it. So it will be automatically calculated 6% from staff for this and 15% for overhead. So at least you can skip this kind of pilot activities, maybe equipment, but needs to be justified. That's what can be funded.
Yeah, you own a lot of equipment for these kind of projects.
No, it's not that much. It's maybe, I don't know, for instance, in our case we've had some events where we needed to rent some equipment, but we're still talking about peanuts. I mean, it's not big infrastructure projects we're talking about where you maybe have to rent machines or something. No, it's not that considerable amounts. Mm?
Yeah. Anything else?
No, but I think that's you ask about what's a kind of can be funded, right? What is eligible?
Yeah.
And think about, as I said, Interreg is very much about exchange, cross-border collaboration. You will travel to each other, you will meet in certain places, you maybe will have study visits. So plan these things, uh, so that you're well equipped
Yeah.
with funds for this. But of course, there's certain things that should not be generally not funded, like we said, maybe basic research should not be funded, or pure local activities. They need to be this cross-border perspective, and you
Mhm.
need to justify why you're doing this together. So it's not only one little local city thing. Or it should not be any routine operational costs or any big infrastructure investments without cooperation objectives, so that you do something only in your local place. Uh, mm, so then be careful with this. But I guess even during submission of your application phase, you will definitely get this comment from secretariat that please consider that those costs should not be in your budget.
Yeah. Now, you've been mentioning this a couple of times, and we haven't got it in the rundown, but now we are moving towards intersection between how to apply and the evaluation, how that works. Now, so the support that you have in the proposal phase, the secretariats, can you share a little bit about how they work?
Yeah. Usually, even before you started any kind of before even you have idea, So there are some kind of workshops and information meetings that are run by secretariat, where advisors, policy advisors, so project advisors and finance advisors from the secretariat tell you about the program, how you can a kind of structure the process, what is the intervention logic should be, what kind of how you can build up partnerships. Already there you will get a lot of useful information even before you start it.
Mhm.
Then, when you managed to identify certain partners, you think, okay, I will do this with them. You kind of develop this concept ideas that you can submit also to secretariat in order to cross check if it's aligned, if it's interesting, maybe it's something that is competing very much with other applications.
Mhm.
So you get already good hints and tips, advice from secretariat. And then the whole process, of course, starts with submission. And even if you feel that you are moving in the right direction, still can be this kind of negotiations ongoing. But you project, there's certain, like, of course, eligibility criteria that, as I said, your project needs to show and secure clear cross-border relevance. Otherwise, that's no point to search for this funding. So that you do this together across borders, align with program priorities. There should be realistic, measurable outputs. You should give some kind of also explanation of expected long-term, short-term effects, and also lasting impact. How you will work with target groups, how you will anchor this.
Yeah. Now, I think it's what I always try to do for the listeners. It is to make sure that everybody has a chance to understand where they can find help and where they can get support. And this is this is very important. It's very important because you always have the people that like they can pay for consultant, they get critical mass through there, but not everybody can that, and not all municipalities and regional authorities have that kind of resources. So it's just important to make sure that everybody is is firmly understands that there is good and strong support from
Yeah.
an actual secretariat that is part of the whole system.
Yeah, and I would say, even I would add here that you can always go to the program web page, and usually program collects, accumulates some kind of libraries or banks, it's called, where you can read about the implemented, already closed projects or ongoing initiatives. You
Mm.
get a kind of feeling, understanding, yeah, what it's all about, how it's formulated, what type of partners they have, what kind of, yeah, complementarities in their competencies. Or maybe you identified, okay, I will work with these three organizations, but I'm still searching for some kind of another type of organization where I
Mhm.
can find it. I know that, for instance, in the Interreg Baltic Sea region, they have even this kind of matchmaking platform between organizations, that they can create a profile and search for partners. So explain a little bit briefly your idea, and are you kind of interested? What can you bring to this collaboration? So I would say you are not alone.
Mhm.
There's so many different ways. Yeah, go through a bank, go through archive or library, it's called. Yeah, read the program and contact advisors in secretariat. That's already definitely good start in the process.
Yeah, but it's so much value in that. There's so much value in that also because uh, they give you an indication of where you're going with what you're doing. That it's because that's often the most tricky things. Tricky thing when you write a proposal, especially if you haven't done it before or done it very little, to understand am I on the right path with this? Is it the right way? Is this totally off? Or description for templates can be very template descriptions you have there, guidelines can be very deceiving, or you can understand it in different ways, and it can lead people down to paths that they should never have went when they write their proposal, and then they have less chance to get the funding. So this is just it's something that make sure you make use of that. Right, understand, Google it, use the Interreg website, whatever, find your the secretariat that suits in your corner and reach out to them, because that's why they're there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are so many different ways how you can get support, and especially, as I say, cross-check what's ongoing initiatives already or closed projects. Probably the idea that you think, it's know-how, it's so brand new, probably already
Mm.
someone already tested this, or you can maybe, if you are continued interested in these topics, you can build on this and get in touch with this project responsible. Explore a little bit how they are thinking, how they thinking about any prolongation, continuation of this, where they are, how this output's been changed, kind of used. So maybe you can build up, and I think it's always appreciated from also secretariat side, who will assess, who will select your idea that it's built on the previous learnings, so
Mhm.
that there is some kind of continuity, um, in all projects, so it's in everyone's interest that we are not duplicating. That's the whole idea, that we're building on each other.
Yeah. I will, of course, leave. So, this episode, like all my episodes, if you are a newbie here, all my episodes have their own website. So, I will leave a link to the Interreg site there, where you will be guided through to the secretariat that suits you. Now, Victoria, we need to move into the next section here. Evaluation.
Mm? What can I say here?
How does the evaluation works in Interreg?
Yeah, I would say that those applications that secretariat is receiving, they are first assessed.
So you submit it to your local secretariat.
Yeah,
Okay.
to your
Yeah.
local secretariat. For instance, in our case, we have this Swedish-Danish collaboration. But our secretariat is located in Copenhagen, for instance. So we turn to the people sitting in Copenhagen, and probably it's also always worth going to different information meetings. So if you have a chance, but these applications are assessed by the Joint Secretariat against agreed selection criteria before actually decisions are taken by the program's monitoring committee. So that's, I would say, secretariat is doing its first job, making some kind of filtration of all these applications. Let's imagine if 200 application come in, so secretariat make some kind of from their selection or evaluation criteria gradation,
Mhm.
how well they are written, how, all these kind of things that should be kept in mind, how strategically important and relevant idea is specified in the project, what is the quality of partnership, how cross-border added value is secured, is it feasible, the kind of feasibility criteria, expected impact, value for money you get. But as I said, first it's this secretariat filtration or selection and estimation, but then it goes to a monitoring committee that kind of makes this final decision.
Mhm. All right. So do they have a list of evaluators? So you have a pre-screening, and then do they have a final board of evaluators that look through each?
Yeah. Already based on this kind of gradation, then you already kind of in this monitoring committee, when they look at different proposals, they have already kind of feeling which ideas or concept papers are already graded highly ranked or lower ranked, depending on the selection criteria.
Mhm.
So you have this kind of double first filtrations and second decision making. Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else to mention concerning the evaluation?
Uh, no, I think that's the most important thing, I guess, and then be patient while you're waiting for your evaluation. And as I said, the most important that's how uh, yeah, how you strengthen this kind of cross-border added value. I think because then even you do it once in this application, but then when you report each second, each half year, you will have to write about how you have secured
Uh,
cross-border transnational added value. Why are you doing this together? You need to explain how your project will operate across borders, how it should be evident in all activities, use of resources, results, long-term impacts, your implementation capacity, results orientation contribution to programs objectives, and also how sustainable and measurable it is.
yeah. So you're already breaking into our next section here on when funding is received.
Mm.
So you have to keep track on all this, the reporting periods. Immediately after you get your message that you have been funding, what happens? Do you sign the grant agreement like you also do in other EU funding schemes? How does that
Yes,
work?
yes, yeah. You are fine. You are signing grant agreements, and during this kind of before you get this grant, it could be, as I said, still some kind of negotiations, or maybe some adjustments in the budget. Maybe you have to verify or explain a little bit, and if secretariat finds that you are maybe exaggerating some numbers,
Mhm.
so they try to understand why you put 120 or 130, but not that number. So you need to be very, very specific. So be prepared for this. Yes, but then grant agreement is signed. So this is like your Bible.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
follow this. It's a kind of already, you maybe look a bit less to application, but you now look at your grant agreement. And when then you start implementing the project, and it's a requirement that the project consortium should develop and sign a partnership agreement. But this is some kind of internal document between partners when they specify in different klausuler.
Mhm.
What are the roles? What are their, yeah, how they're planning to communicate this, how they're planning to distribute all this kind of facts. But this is partnership agreement, as I said, is more like internal document between partners, because there could be different type of situations. One partner can withdraw, maybe they kind of yeah, something might happen,
Mhm.
and you
Yep.
should be in this partnership agreement. You specify force majeure situations, so it's a kind of between you, but secretariat will request that you submit it with the first reporting, which is after 6 months
Mhm.
after the implementation has started. And also be prepared to develop communication strategy or plan, where you also say how you're planning to communicate everything what you're doing. Either you who are your target groups, what are your communication strategy, how you will mobilize communicators network that you have in the project. So all these kind of things will be also requested.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, that's very one to one to many other
Yeah.
collaboration projects, corner, right? So the grant agreement, dissemination, communication, exploitation strategy to be finished and rolled out. What do you know? Do you make also a consortium agreement in these projects,
Yes,
like you do
yes,
in
yes.
Horizon? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So as I said, we call it like partnership agreement or consortium agreement, where you say what lead partner do and responsible for, what coordinating partner is expected to do, other partners roles, communication strategy. So the more detailed you are, the letter probably could be for you to go to this operational part. And different type of situations might happen during 3 years. New people on board, new new team could be I will observe in our concrete project. We've got new people on board because someone gets pregnant, someone moves to another country, something happening, new colleague on board. Then it's always easier that you can share this type of document, that it's clear what is expected to do for each partner.
All right. We are slowly moving towards the end, Victoria.
Mhm.
In these episodes, I always have a do's and don'ts section.
Mm.
What did you dot down?
Yeah, do's and don'ts. That's always good. What are recommendations observed? I would say that build your partnership early. Think through whom you get on board in your consortium. As I already mentioned, that it's complementary, that you have trustful relations. You probably already worked with this partner before, because you will be challenging each other in the partnership. And it's important that you specify and develop this shared problem, so that it's not only challenge on your side and everything is working fine on the other side, so that you share the concern, you share the common challenge, and try to come to the common solution. Focus rather on, I would say, on implementation rather than discussions. So that it's more only talks and meetings and discussions, never ending, but very operationally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I continue?
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's just very reassuring tip. No, but really, I've been in Brussels, working in Brussels for many years, and been connected to different corners, and it's just the Interreg projects I heard of that was most successful was the ones that was most concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so easy to fall into this into the trap that I mentioned earlier of becoming a travel club with the organizations that you normally work with, and then you develop some content deliverables that means that you're not being caught in any ways, but do something that makes a difference.
Yeah.
A
And I would
real
say,
difference, not just because you like to be in, because we all know them, Victoria. You've been in this game for a long time also.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know the kind of partners that do this. And then, it's when it comes to actually get concrete work and concrete results, it gets a little more difficult to squeeze that out.
That's why maybe you should also spend some time on these kind of indicators, how you actually measure, because you will come to that point that you need to understand how you measure your success. What is your frame, so to say, how successful you are. And I would also recommend this: engage end users from the beginning, not you do stuff and then at the end you realize in your last period implementation phase that that's true, we had we have those target groups. So
Yep.
they should be from the absolutely early beginning, because they're end users and they also should be on board from start, and start already using it, and maybe even being with you and helping and developing, because nothing is from the beginning, 3 years before, you never know exactly where you end up. You need to be a little bit prepared to certain flexibilities, that you will sharpen certain methods. Maybe you will change a little bit your thinking. That's all about this, that you're actually testing this. You are piloting together and learning from it, inspiring each other. And target group end users are extremely important, because, as I say, for Interreg, it's extremely important that how everything what you develop, your outputs, that they are anchored, used by these end users. If it's about, I don't know, improved. Now I cannot come up with something concrete, but that there is a real impact in their lives.
But I guess it can be, for instance, indoor environment in public buildings.
For instance, exactly.
The legislation around better garbage collection.
Yeah. In our case, when we are working with talent attraction retention, we also can kind of monitor or understand better how many we have managed to maybe keep in our region, how many companies we managed to attract or maybe change certain attitudes in how they should recruit internationally. So that's and that those end users are from the beginning with us.
Yeah.
Then I would say also important, definitely do's. Try to communicate whatever you do. This kind of in Sweden we say like syns du finns du. You communicate so that it's not only stays in your consortium and you are happy and proud of this, but it should go out. It should go externally. Tell good stories. Be good at storytelling. Bring your target groups in communication, for instance. Bring their voices so that they tell what this project about, how these initiatives that you're running together changed their life, that they made certain decisions.
Yeah.
Then there are don'ts.
Yeah. What are they?
Shayla. I think that's definitely it should not be how to say built. You should not build maybe artificial partnership only in order to meet eligibility and get funds. Then it will be very tricky. You will definitely need to think a little bit how you, as I said, complement what kind of relations you have. That's extremely important because you will be little families then in this project, solving challenges. Maybe don't overcomplicate governance, don't make too many structures. And if you feel, for instance, that you will be tricky then to run websites that you develop during this 3 years project implementation phase, don't do this. Just keep it simple. Maybe just create something on a LinkedIn. Then don't promise unrealistic impacts, so that it should be definitely feasible and realistic and measurable.
Yeah, no fairy tale castles.
No, definitely not.
In the sky. The Grand. Last section, I have this in all my episodes, Victoria. The toughest challenge. So I put here toughest challenge in relation to working with the Interreg program and how to handle it. So what you've been doing this a lot. Yeah. You've been in the game a lot. You've even been sitting in the secretariat yourself and so on. So with all that weight of that experience, both from your own experience and from advising and helping applicants, what is it? What's the toughest corner?
I think I can mention a couple. One is most maybe important from the early beginning, how you demonstrate a little bit this kind of true cross-border added value. So that's every time you ask why this specific organization work together, why are we doing this across borders, what can be achieved through collaboration but not on your own, so that you all the time then when you are implementing you see that it's a resource in each other. You support each other through the collaboration. What new knowledge solutions will emerge because of this partnership. So I think it's very challenging part. It maybe sounds simple, but it's very challenging part. That's and strong applications usually show that applications are successful when partners jointly design the project and jointly implement activities developed jointly and benefit from those results also. It's one, I would say, very tough challenge. And the other one, when you are standing closer to the end of the project, when your implementation phase is ending, I think all projects got this kind of question: what's next? What's
Yeah.
next? And it's not easy to answer to this because you kind of used everything was prescribed by it. You had a plan, you have a time plan, you have activity plan. So it was up and running, operational, and suddenly you come to the moment, what's next? And so think about it, what's next. Also, not maybe at the end of the project, but somewhere, not from the start, but at least from the middle when you are implementing, how you anchor this, how you align with your
Victoria.
internal, I don't know, if we are working in a city, for instance, I representing city, do we have any kind of, I don't know, business development program on a city municipal level? Is it what we are doing interesting for someone on the municipal level? Is it how we can take it further? Is there interest in this to continue? You're always taking temperature in the partnership also consortium and trying to kind of trigger new ideas while piloting the ones that you already prescribed. So this is ever developing process. So it's a challenge, but it's exciting.
No, but Victoria, you are putting the one thing on the table that is probably the most painful thing for many projects. That is what's going to happen when there's no more money, especially when it comes to public entities. Because you have, and this is also what the Commission doesn't like. They don't like project machines. Yeah, they don't like that. They don't like project hunters. They like to see. They understand that some organizations are very active when it comes to applying for funding because they can see that they have built into their strategy how you can use funding in your regional or local municipal strategy to de-risk some of the things you want to do. But they want to see it anchored in the budget, so to say, of your activities. So it's this that you said here in the end, this with saying how can we so we did this. Let's just take concrete example, talent attraction, working together with Copenhagen across the water there on having a common way. How can we build that into our normal budget when the project ends? Can it start something where the politicians in our political board, they see the value of this enough so they will allocate money to a not funded by the Commission, but an initiative politically funded both in Copenhagen and in Lund to continue some of these activities without funds. So that's the real pressure test of what you have done. Is it valuable enough for the politicians? That's difficult. I know that the political element is a difficult corner. That they think it's valuable enough for them to put money into continuing that. And that's, of course, politicians are like leaves in the wind. They will go wherever votes will put a cross on a piece of paper every 4 years. That's very difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, you said what is a challenge. This is kind of, I guess, a very concrete challenge, and it's important to work all the time with lobbying, with showing value proposition, showing outputs, this kind of storytelling, raising voices from target groups that you involve in the project. So that's not a simple project, but it's actually one of the initiatives that contribute to a bigger picture, a kind of bigger change that is planned from high level. That's challenging. It's difficult, but we need to do this.
On that note, Victoria, thank you so much. I'm just going to land the plane before we round this up. So, dear listeners, thank you so much for listening to this. Now, I really hope that some of you people out there that works with this or would like to work with Interreg, that this has been valuable for you, because it is indeed an introduction episode, so it should guide you. And hence, if you're a listener and you're a first timer, I would like to guide you to my website. It's called thegrant.eu, and there you'll have lots of resources. You have more than 200 podcast episodes. This is the first one on Interreg, but there's so much content there that should be fitting also you, no matter if it's not specifically Interreg. Go there, check it out, and when you're there and you see, wow, this is fantastic, how can I support this guy? You do that very simply by joining my email list. There's an online form on every website on my site. So that's that. Other things you can do, well, go to LinkedIn. There you will find me. I'm Niels Tudor Winter. I'm the only person in the world with that name. So you should be able to find me, connect with me, and also go to my The Grant page. Follow that, and then you are totally in the community, and that's where the fun happens. That's where the flow is. That's where I like stuff. That's where I share all my episodes, whatever I do. So thanks in advance for that. It's that. Victoria, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
No, and it's not the last time. You will, and I really hope that you won't decline this. I really want to have you in for the proposal writing, also for the evaluation. So there you might be able to get some of your old colleagues from the Internet Secretariat also to join us for the next episodes to sort of fill in the gaps I have on Interreg. So thanks in advance for that.
Thank you. And good luck to all who are now considering to apply for funding. So good luck with this. And thank you, Niels, for having me in this studio.
Of course, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much. Now let's say goodbye to the dear listeners. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Grant. All the Grant episodes have their own site on the Grant website. You'll find the link to the episode site where you listen to your podcast. On the site for this episode, you'll find a link to Victoria's LinkedIn profile and a link to the Lund Municipality website. You will also find a link to the Interreg website where you find all information about the funding scheme, including directions to the local support secretariats. Next week, it is finally time to open up the door to culture and creativity in EU Fund, and I am looking so much forward to that. And you can indeed look forward to that.